When you hear the title Lolita, what first truly comes to mind for you? Is it maybe the notoriety that surrounded it for, well, decades?
Or perhaps the enduring, really unsettling power of Vladimir Nabokov's writing itself.
Exactly. It's a title that it just conjures strong images, often, conflicting ones.
Definitely.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take your sources, articles, research notes, and really try to unearth the most compelling insights. We want to give you a shortcut to understanding complex subjects.
And that's absolutely our goal today. We're not just summarizing. We're aiming to help you connect the dots, maybe dissect the layers, and really grasp why this book remains so incredibly significant.
Today, we are embarking on a deep dive into Vladimir Nabokov's Lolita. We'll be pulling from, well, rich excerpts of the novel itself. It's very unique forward, Humbert's own disturbing narrative, and also some fascinating biographical notes on Nabokov. Our mission for you today is to unpack the, let's say, intricate layers of narrative, explore the profound psychological landscape of the characters, and reveal the surprising literary artistry that makes this book such a landmark.
Yeah, we want to offer you a path to understanding its complex themes, the unreliable narrator, and all those hidden threads woven through its pages.
Okay, diving straight in then. What's really striking about Lolita from our sources isn't immediately Humbert's voice, is it?
No, not at all. It's that foreword by a fictional editor, John Ray Jr.
Right. And he tells us the manuscript arrived with these working titles, Lolita, or The Confession of a White Widowed Male. I mean, that's a very deliberate opening. Sets a deeply unsettling tone, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. This whole editorial frame, it's Nabokov's first brilliant move. It instantly invites you to read critically, maybe even suspiciously.
Yeah.
We learn the supposed author, Humbert, died in legal captivity from a heart condition, coronary thrombosis, November 16th, 1952, just days before his trial.
And the editor, Ray, even mentions his own prize for discussing morbid states and perversions. It subtly, but quite powerfully, positions the content we're about to get into.
It's like a meta-commentary right from the get-go, a warning, almost. Makes you question everything before you've even hit page 1 of Humbert's story.
And it gets even more intriguing. The editor notes Humbert invented his own bizarre cognomen, basically a weird nickname, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that Lolita's name is too closely interwound with the inmost fiber of the book to be changed. Then Humbert himself starts with, "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, exhibit number 1 is what the serifs envied."
It's like he's stepping right into a courtroom, immediately on the defensive, pleading his case, not just to some imagined jury, but directly to us, the readers.
So this is elaborate setup. Why do that?
Well, that's the crucial question, isn't it? Is Nabokov's masterful way of challenging you, the reader, right from the start. You're immediately forced to try and sort out truth from, well, self-serving justification. This framework highlights Humbert's unreliability as a narrator. It signals this isn't just a story, it's a carefully constructed argument from a man awaiting judgment. You're kind of implicated from the moment you open the book.
That makes a lot of sense, especially given the subject. So, okay, with that context, how does Humbert then try to build his case, starting with his own past?
Right. He gives this detailed, though, as you say, incredibly self-serving account. Born in Paris, 1910, describes a privileged childhood, father's fancy hotel on the Riviera, losing his mother early.
He also mentions an eccentric Aunt Sybil, who loved his father and was poetically superstitious, believed she'd die soon after his 16th birthday, which she apparently did.
Yeah, but you see, his early life story feels less like straightforward biography and more like him constructing a psychological foundation for what comes later.
Oh, okay.
He pins his lifelong obsession on a childhood love, Annabelle Lee, someone he met just before he turned 13. He recalls their madly, clumsily, shamelessly, agonizingly intense, yet incomplete affection on a beach. He actually claims, "The haze of stars, the tingle, the flame, the honeydew, and the ache remained with me, and that little girl haunted me ever since until at last, 24 years later, I broke her spell by incarnating her in another."
Wow. That's quite a statement. Elevating his pathology to destiny.
Precisely. And this incarnation idea leads straight to his infamous concept, the nymphet.
He defines them, right? Maidens between 9 and 14 who, to certain bewitched travelers much older, reveal a nymphic, that is, demoniac, nature.
Yes, and he even tries to normalize it by referencing figures like Dante and Beatrice, Petrarch and Lorine, even King Akhenaten's daughters, as if these historical or literary examples somehow give his desires legitimacy.
It's like he's building this whole academic-sounding framework around his own perversion.
That's exactly it. And what's so fascinating, or maybe chilling, is the sheer intellectual effort he puts into justifying his hell furnace of localized lust.
Hmm.
He talks about having not one but two sexes, neither of which was mine, but to me, through the prism of my senses, they were as different as mist and mast.
So this elaborate language, it's not just self-justification.
Well, it is, but it's also Nabokov showing us how language, how pseudo-intellectualism can be twisted, how it can be used to rationalize the absolutely abhorrent. It forces us, the readers, to examine how even beautiful prose can manipulate perception.
Yeah, it subtly draws you into his worldview, even as you're repulsed by it.
Exactly.
Okay, so after his time in Europe, the pragmatic marriage to Valeria, trifling with psychiatrists where he claims he enjoyed leading them on.
Right.
He arrives in America. He's meant to stay with the McCoos, but their house burns down. Just pure chance, it seems.
A convenient chance for his narrative, perhaps.
Maybe. Which leads him to Mrs. Haze in Ramsdale. He describes her pretty dismissively, a weak solution of Marlene Dietrich.
Yeah, but notice how even these seemingly mundane details serve his obsession. His disinterest in Mrs. Haze just evaporates the moment he sees her daughter, Dolores.
Right, the incarnation.
Instantly. He sees her on a mat in the sun, half naked, kneeling, and for him, it's Annabelle again. The same child, same frail, honey-hued shoulders, even a tiny dark brown mole.
He says the 25 years I had lived since then tapered to a palpitating point and vanished.
Exactly. It's this intensely subjective, almost hallucinatory moment that dictates everything that follows, erases decades in an instant of delusion.
And that delusion quickly becomes action. He becomes a lodger, starts that secret diary. Our sources quote it quite a bit. He meticulously records everything about Dolores, her slangy speech, harsh, high voice. He specifically notes May 30th, 1947, when an abdominal flu closes schools, leaving her home for him to observe.
It's chilling.
How much of that detail in the diary do you think was genuine belief versus him performing for his future jury, even then?
That's a really good question. I think the diary serves a complex purpose. It's partly performance, yes, for the trial, but maybe also for himself, to reinforce his own twisted narrative.
Right.
It swings between what sounds like poetic adoration and just cold calculation. He admits to idle and idiotic fancies like wishing for an earthquake to kill Mrs. Haze, so Lolita whimpers in my arms.
God, yeah. A free man. I enjoy her among the ruins.
It's a horrifying glimpse into a mind planning to take advantage while simultaneously claiming to be horribly timid. That contradiction really highlights his self-deception.
So this need to be near Lolita leads him to marry her mother, Charlotte Haze. He calls Charlotte a woman of principle, but also crazily jealous.
And we see Charlotte's own issues, her own skewed view of Lolita in that Guide to Your Child's Development form.
Oh yeah, that was shocking. Underlining, aggressive, distrustful, ignoring anything positive. It's like a dark mirror to Humbert's own projections, isn't it?
It is a really disturbing parallel. And the tension just keeps building. Charlotte inevitably, perhaps, finds the diary, finds out his true intentions.
He recounts her reaction, right? Calling him a monster, a criminal fraud.
Yes. And though he admits fantasizing about drowning her, her actual death is, well, seemingly accidental, hit by a car rushing to mail a letter.
He blames her vindictive anger and hot shame mixed with precise fate.
Again, deflecting responsibility, twisting it into cosmic inevitability rather than facing his own sinister role in driving her to that state.
So Charlotte's gone. His path seems clear in his mind. He goes to get Lolita from Camp Q, armed with those violet blue, Papa's purple pills.
The sedative he thinks will knock her out.
Right. And on their first night in the hotel, he offers her one, using this ridiculously flowery language, summer skies and plums and figs and the great blood of emperors.
Which she, apparently nodding vigorously, accepts. It's almost darkly comic, his manipulation.
Almost. But that hotel scene, it's pivotal, as you said earlier.
Absolutely crucial. Because his potent drug turns out to be just a mild sedative. Lolita is wary, albeit weary.
He admits he was deceived and then astonishingly claims, "It was she who seduced me."
That's the moment his whole pristine and nymphet fantasy just shatters completely, because Lolita then reveals her own experiences.
Yeah, at Camp Q, acting as a sentinel, while another camper and the camp mistress's son, Charlie Holmes, were together.
Right. This revelation of a pre-existing world of, well, juvenile sexual activity completely destroys Humbert's idealized image. It exposes the depth of his self-deception.
And from that point, their journey across America starts. That crazy quilt of 48 states, motels, roadside
A
stuff.
frantic journey, Humbert consumed by jealousy, constantly watching her.
While she seems, in his eyes, disgustingly conventional movie magazine sodas, he controls her with threats of a reformatory.
And even uses pseudoscience from a learned book about daughters needing to please their fathers. It's all about control, utterly controlling her narrative.
Yeah, even as his own seems to be unraveling, because then this other figure emerges.
Ah, yes, the mysterious pursuer, leaving clues in hotel registers.
At first, Humbert thinks it's a detective, right?
But eventually it turns out to be Claire Quilty, the playwright he sort of vaguely remembered from a Who's Who, author of The Little Nymph.
And Lowe herself reveals more later. Vivian is the male author, the gal author is Claire, and that Quilty is 40, married, and has Negro blood.
Quilty's presence is this constant, unsettling shadow, a dark mirror almost, reflecting and maybe even amplifying Humbert's own depravity, a rival who seems to understand the game.
That revelation about Quilty, it changes everything, doesn't it? Suddenly, it's not just Humbert's singular obsession. It's a much bigger, uglier picture of exploitation.
It really is. And Lolita eventually leaves Humbert, not for another Humbert-like figure, but for Dick, a young veteran.
When Humbert finds her again, years later, she's hopelessly worn at 17 and pregnant.
Yeah. And in that scene, truly heartbreaking, she reveals the full extent of Quilty's depravity. He knew her mother, flirted with Lowe when she was just 10, organized orgies at the Duck Duck Ranch, filmed participants.
It completely reframes Humbert's unique obsession. Makes him seem like just one predator among others in her tragically short youth.
That scene with the adult pregnant Lolita, it feels like the novel's moral center. It lays bare her trauma. And what's so powerful is her refusal of Humbert's last desperate offer, money to leave Dick.
Even though she calls him honey for the first time.
Which is just devastating. But she tells him, it is quite out of the question. I would sooner go back to Q, meaning Quilty.
Wow.
It's her final act of reclaiming some agency, a total rejection of his fantasy. Then, of course, Humbert tracks down Quilty, kills him in that surreal, brutal scene.
He drives off on the wrong side of the highway. A final act of lawlessness.
A grim symbol of his complete break from society and maybe his own self-destruction.
So putting this all together, what does it mean for understanding Lolita and Nabokov himself? The sources show this meticulously constructed novel, a memoir written by Humbert in a psychopathic ward intended for his trial to save his soul. He even says it should only be published when Lolita is no longer alive. Still possessive, still controlling, even from beyond the grave.
And if we broaden that out, you can absolutely see echoes of Nabokov's own extraordinary life in this. Born in Russia, 1899, exiled after the revolution. Huge personal loss his father killed, shielding someone from assassins.
Right, I remember reading that.
Nabokov himself talked about having to abandon his natural idiom, my untrammeled, rich, and infinitely docile Russian tongue for a second-rate brand of English to write books like Lolita.
That struggle with language, with displacement.
It resonates deeply with Humbert's own rootlessness in America, doesn't it? And his twisted attempt to build a home around Lolita. Nabokov's incredible linguistic precision, achieved despite all that trauma, becomes the perfect tool for Humbert's deceptive narrative.
That's a really interesting connection. But isn't there a danger here? By making Humbert so articulate, so detailed in his self-serving story, does Nabokov risk making him too sympathetic for some readers? How do we handle that without, condoning him?
That's a crucial point, and yeah, it's part of the novel's enduring power and challenge. Nabokov isn't asking for sympathy for Humbert's actions. He's asking us to grapple with the persuasive power of language itself, even when used by a monster.
Okay.
The genius is how Nabokov shows us the seductive quality of Humbert's intellect, his poetic descriptions. It forces us to recognize how easily narrative can distort reality. By making him so eloquent, Nabokov forces us to actively resist that manipulation.
To see through the beautiful words to the ugliness underneath.
Exactly. It's a testament to the book's artistry that it provokes such discomfort while demanding our intellectual engagement.
So this deep dive really reveals a literary masterpiece. It uses this unredeemable narrator to explore desire, manipulation, memory, innocence, stolen innocence. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about narrative power.
Yeah, and about our own role as readers interpreting such a disturbing subjective confession.
As you think about all this, consider Humbert's final haunting words about Lolita. I looked and looked at her, and knew as clearly as I know I am to die that I loved her more than anything I had ever seen or imagined on earth or hoped for anywhere else.
Mm.
Does that desperate, self-deluding declaration of love coming from him alter your perception of Humbert or of the novel's ultimate message? It's definitely something that stays with you.